Hey everybody, Andy Smith here, your 34-year veteran of the comic book industry, Marvel, DC, Image. You know the drill. Check my website, andysmithart.com, and get the full rundown. I am here with this week's book look, where I grab a book off my shelf and go through it with you guys. This is Frame Perspective Volume 2. Let's go through it. Technical Drawing for Shadows, Volume, and Characters. This guy's books are great. Like I said, this is Volume 2. I probably have Volume 1 somewhere around here. We'll go through it. 2016. This book, 2016. Shadows on Objects. That's great. Guys, I've been doing this for 34 years. I still kind of struggle some with shadows and stuff. Remember, drawing, art, anything creative, you're always learning. Characters in perspective, shadows on characters, clothing the characters, rendering, thought process, execution, notes on composition. Got an introduction. This is cool right here. Plus, I love this guy's drawing style as well. Love this. So cool. So, I mean, pretty basic. He starts off with, which is good. You want to start basic before you go further. I will say, I haven't looked at this book in a long time. I should probably have this next to my desk because, like I said, I still have problems casting shadows. Now, also keep in mind, this is very technical. You look at some of your favorite comic artists. You know, we fudge a lot, which I think is fine as well. You know, go through, you know, if the light source is, say, the upper left side, the shadows are going to be on the right side. You don't have to get this technical with it, but it's cool to kind of know this stuff. You know, do I think some of my favorite artists like John Byrne and the late, great George Perez and those guys know it this well? I don't think so. I could be wrong. This is so great. The way his inking style and stuff, so cool. So, like, you know, he breaks it down here for that panel we just saw. Different rendering techniques, which is pretty cool too. Showing the perspective. This is a sketch for the passage ahead, illustration shown on the next page. See that we always have to visualize the horizon and vanishing points for both the architectural elements as well as for the shadows. Which makes sense. So you know, you've got the vanishing point for the perspective of the buildings, but then depending on the light source, which is over here, up here, to the right, you've got these shadows going this way, which go to a different vanishing point. So, that stuff's cool. Characters in perspective. This is great. I love seeing different artists do their anatomy type chart thing like this. This 8 head high. That's the standard superhero build figure. I love the way he does his line weights and stuff. I just get a real Klaus Janson vibe from, which I dig. I like seeing the shapes and stuff like this. Really cool. And building the figure. Oh, look, it's a mannequin, like I always talk about. I love seeing the real rough here, tighter and stuff. That's cool. This has a nice twist to it. Putting the figures in perspective. So really good stuff here. A lot of this stuff, you know, if you have an Andrew Loomis book, it covers a lot of this stuff. So, nice stuff on foreshortening. This is cool. This is a good way to kind of figure out the flat, totally flat, as you can see, and rough in the flat shapes and then build up from those shapes. See how he's giving it form? And then as you add the overlaps and stuff, you now get from this flat shape a figure in perspective that has the volume to it. So that's really cool. Same with this stuff. This is like a nightmare scenario to draw, but even to this day, if I had to draw something like this, I'd be like, oh my God, this is where it's work, guys. This is where you're earning your money for sure. This is freaking awesome. Fisheye lens and just the color. Warm to cool. Chick's elbows right there. You can see her foot. I love that. That's awesome. The knife, all this stuff. That's really cool. Great framing there with that. Shadows on characters. Great chapter. Oh, beautiful blocking in of the shapes. He gets into some anatomy and stuff, which is cool. Then we do get into some lighting. He breaks down, which is cool. That's real nice. Seeing the different planes of the head and stuff. This is great right here. Just out of the gate, if you're like, oh, I'm drawing a close-up and I want to do some lighting on the face, just using these 2 pages as reference is cool. This is real stark lighting, of course, you know, high contrast. And then this is kind of cool if you just want to kind of outline. You see this in comics, for instance, where somebody might draw a profile like this, and then they'll just do this real thin, wispy line, breaking the plane here, and then it's kind of up to the colors to go, oh, this is the shadow part, and color it a little darker. A lot of this stuff, you know, if you have Bern Hogarth's dynamic light and shade, a lot of this is in there. Look at that. Looks like Marlon Brando. But this is very cool. I love this. You know, the lighting coming down here, striking the figure. It's got some reflected light and stuff here. He's killing the reflected light, so I'm making it harder. Looks like brush pen. Breaking the figure into the planes and downlighting, you know, in front. And the thing is, you can tell the angle of the light. If you go, this is basically the outline of his head hitting his chest. So the light's coming down at an angle, maybe like that, in front. You know, because if you draw a line down from, like, you see my finger going down, it hits his chest, so the light's in front, but not at an extreme angle. Here, the light is a little behind him. You can tell by the curve of the arrow, but it's a little behind him. And here, it's in front once again, ever so slightly, so it's really casting a lot of her in shadow. Oh, duh. So here, this is great. I should look through the whole page. I was so focused up here, I didn't even look down here. So yeah, so you see the light. Line hits the chin, boom, that's where it hits the chest, goes back up. So, very cool. That's just real nice. That is freaking awesome right there. I would go out on a limb and say Dan Panosian looks at some of this stuff, or did, just from looking at how he does his rendering and even lighting stuff. This is great. I love this. Remember, guys, I talk about the mannequin a lot. It's flexible, you know, but once again, look at this shape. No anatomy at all. Just these basic shapes. And you see this and you go, oh, that works. And then you see it here and you go, oh yeah. Because once you get these basic shapes down, you can't cut in. You've got to stay on these outlines. And then, of course, the great lighting and stuff. Up lighting. Nice. Great clothing. Nice, simple looking shot right there. Oh, that's great. Love this, way he's breaking down a figure with the planes and stuff. And you see it tighter here, and then, oh yeah, with the shadows and everything. Really cool. See, it's hard when you have all the anatomy in. Sometimes it can really, like, just do a job on you because you're trying to figure out the lighting, but you're seeing all these muscles. So if you do it with the basic shapes, like this, and then throw the lighting on, when you get to the anatomy part, you go, okay, this is mostly dark on the bottom of the arm here. Okay, so you can break it up, reflected light and stuff, but you see what he's doing, you know. Same thing, rough it in, figure it out some more. You just have the planes, and you have the figure drawn more, and then, oh yeah, going by this, you're like, okay, this is gonna be black. He's doing some reflected light right here. That's cool. So then he shows the lighting stuff, light, shadow, core shadows the darkest, and then reflected light. If there's no reflected light, this would all be black, of course. So, clothing the character, very cool. Different stress points and such. Of course, he's really going nuts here with the wrinkles. You don't have to go that crazy with it. And getting into lighting. Very cool. Rendering thought process and execution. This is cool, showing taking a photo, converting it into line art. Very cool. And this is great. The way he did the tires, you see a little hint of light there, but it's gray. Really nice to see how he's converting stuff. Man, the more I look at this, the more I go, bam. Dan Panosian. Looking at this stuff. So it's nice seeing how he's converting a photo to a black and white drawing. I think that's really cool. And different techniques. And he does some notes on composition, which is cool to end it with. You know, this is like the final. Squint at this, you get this, and then really break it down to the simple, you get this, and this just works compositionally with the black and white. And then the glossary. So this is a great book. I believe, let me see. Trail of Steel. I wonder, that's probably a graphic novel. I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't have volume 1. I do have this. So I need to find this so I could do a book look on this one. Anyhow, that is this week's book look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And guys, if you like this, like, subscribe to the channel so I keep bringing you this stuff. And more importantly, I've got a campaign, Lilith Infernal Conflict. Graphic novel spinning out of Kordrath Saga, the Kordrath world, the Shattered Reach. Lilith was introduced in those first 2 books. The link is in the description below. Go check it out, please. Take a minute, check it out. Back the graphic novel. All your support helps me bring this work to you. It is crowdfunding, and you guys are the producers. Thank you so much, and I will catch you guys in another book look later. Bye-bye, everybody.